What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. All right, guys, we're going to be talking about probably the most important topic in this game that you're going to need to know. There's going to be some crazy nuances you've never heard of in any RPG, and this game pretty much takes the cake for all of those. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys stat allocations, which ones are the most important, the caps for stats, how to get there, how skills and passives do not apply to stats, and some crazy things that you need to look out for. So first thing we're going to talk about, guys, is a couple things on my actual page. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys to my actual page here, and I'm going to show you guys a video, and I need you guys to refer to this video because I'm not going to do the whole testing phase that I had already done for this. So if you go to my main channel, right, there's going to be a little video here that's going to be one of the most important videos you're going to probably see if you decide to watch it. It's not this one. This is outdated, okay? It's actually this one. Must watch full deep dive into Jinu stats part 2. This video here gives you a full explanation of the actual stats you want to go for. I'm going to give you guys the breakdown, so if you want to see the testing, you can go in here and watch the testing, but I'm going to give you the gist of it so you don't have to do all that watching, and I can give you guys the details you need now. Okay, so first off, the main stat for Jinu is going to be pretty straightforward. Okay, so you don't have to respec all the time. This here, you want to put everything into strength and try to get your precision to a minimum 80 to 85%. That's what matters most, okay? So 80 to 85% precision, and then you want to put everything else in strength. Your crit hit rate and your crit damage is going to come all from your artifacts, okay? Your artifacts here will provide you that. Now, I need to explain something to you guys, all right? When you get your crit artifacts here, let me just find one here that I can put with a little more crit on it. There is a cap for artifacts and stats. The cap is 50%. I'm gonna show you guys how this works so you guys can see it, okay? And then at least you guys can get a general sense of what I'm talking about. It'll make more sense to you. So if I go to crit, if I search for crit hit rate, I need anything with crit. It doesn't really matter what it is. So here, crit hit rate. This one has it as well. Let's see what is higher. 641, 658. Perfect. Let's put this one on for now, okay? And you guys will see all of a sudden now, if I go back to my stats, you see it's yellow now, okay? So the max crit hit rate you can get in this game and the max precision you can get in this game from stats alone is 50%. You cannot get more than 50% crit hit rate, and you cannot get more than 99% precision. What precision does is it closes the gap from minimum damage to maximum damage. So the more precision you have, the more likely you're going to do maximum damage with your weapon, but it's not a big enough deal from 80 to 100 or to 99%, so 80% is perfect. But with crit hit rate, you don't want to go above the 50% because then it does nothing. So the question is, Payne, how do you get more crit hit rate? This is a big one that a lot of people ask. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys on my channel as well another video that's going to explain all that, and you guys can take a look at it for proof. I've done this many times for you guys, so I don't want to redo it all, but let me just find it here. It's called crit. Hold on, let me just look for it real quick. One sec here, guys. So crit rate. Let's see crit rate. Okay, if you search crit rate, you can see it right there. Must watch, proving they can go over 50% crit cap, data shown. Okay, so I show you guys the actual data here as well too, and how to do it. Now the way it works, again, you don't have to see the data if you don't want to. I'll explain it to you. The way it works is any skills, for example, the 2-piece set for the toughness set right here, which gives you an extra 8%, will not be shown in your stats. It's considered a passive. Passives don't show in stats. So this will actually take you above the 50% to 58%. If you have a weapon, for example, the scythe, right here, let me just put the scythe to show you guys. With its A1 skill, if you're below 70% HP, you get this Edge of Darkness, which increases your user critical hit rate by 25%. You can then go over to 75% with this, right? So that's how you increase your actual yellow stats, by using passives and skills. Here's another example. You can increase your crit hit rate by 2%, right? For 8 seconds, up to stacking up to 5 times. Or some of these skills, for example, this one here. Let me just show you guys one. Let's see. Increases critical hit rate by 4% for 8 seconds. This will add on top of that 50%. You won't see it in the stats, but I show proof in that video that it does actually work. Another great example of this one is Igris the Shadow. The Shadow actually does give you an extra 4% to 5% more crit hit rate on to your party members. Okay, so right here you can see 6% crit hit because of where I'm at. Let's actually level them up here as well. So there you guys go. So that's how you go above the yellow. Now the only 2 yellows in the game that we know of currently are crit hit rate and precision. Okay, so those are important things to note. Now, the meta in this game, again, as explained to you, is to get your crit hit rate capped or close to cap. You want to go at least 40 to 45% if you can with artifacts. Now, the left side artifacts here that are the armor always give or have the option to give you crit hit rate. Okay, the right side here does not give crit hit rate. What it does instead is gives you crit hit damage. Okay, so you can only get crit hit damage as a substat here and crit hit rate here, but this boots has the option to give you crit hit damage as a main stat. Okay, so that's the thing to remember. All your crit hit rate comes from this, all your crit damage comes from this, and your boots. Now that crit damage works, that is the meta. Now, if you're gonna ask me which artifacts are best for each character, I have those videos as well. You can just search it. I have every video you guys possibly could need. But if you look here and you go to the word artifacts, you guys can, let me just write it in. Artifacts. You guys will be able to see best to worst artifacts. I have a tier list as well too. Look, all SSR Hunter artifacts, best to worst. There's Jinno's best artifacts as well as the SR artifacts. So all of that actually already exists on my channel with timestamp for every single unit. I will add shot to the newest one when I update it, okay? So the meta is still the same. It has not changed for those who are wondering. I've done testing on it, even with crit hit damage being available now, because crit hit damage scales off of attack, and as well as all of Jinnu's skills scale off of attack, your main stat distribution is going to be attack. You want to put as much in here as you possibly can, and then a little bit in precision to get it to that 80% sweet spot, okay? Now, how do you get more precision after that? Well, the more you dupe your weapons, so you can see here, this A5, A6 has 4,000 precision. This A3 has 3,000 precision. This A4 has 3,500 precision. These SR weapons have 2,000 precision. So the more you dupe your weapons over time, the more precision will be taken care of for you by your actual weapons. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. So look, let's take an example. I'll put this on, and I'll put this on, okay? Now look, my precision now hops up to 87%, where it was 80% before. So very, very important, guys. Your SR weapons, when duped, will give you that. Now, one thing to note, your R weapons will not give you any extra precision. It only starts at SR and above, okay? So keep that in mind. That's your stat allocations. Now, real quick, gonna go to the hunters because a lot of new players are not gonna understand this. The way to know what stat matters for your hunters is see what they scale off of. So quickly, Chahain's scaling is off of attack. So everything she has artifact wise, you want to have attack on there. That's what matters the most for her. But someone like Saw here, if you look at her skills, she scales off of max HP. So all of her attack skills are max HP based. So attack does nothing for her. Crit will help, crit damage will help, but everything else will scale off of HP. So you want to make sure, guys, you scale HP as the main stat here for you. Now, for your actual early game stats, additional HP is going to matter the most for these kind of characters. Additional defense are going to matter for characters like this, right? He scales off of defense, for example, right? There's a skill, user scales off of defense. So only defense matters for him with crit hit and crit damage. So these units are going to matter more for their defense, okay? Now, additional attack, and additional HP will scale very much better early on in the game. As you get later into like the 60s and the 70 levels, then percentage takes over. So keep that in mind. So make sure, guys, when you are equipping artifacts on your heroes, and again, I have the full artifact tier list for you guys, you are making sure that you're focusing on the proper stats. So for another example here, Beck, right, on his skills, scales off of defense. So attack does nothing for him. It won't benefit him in any way, shape, or form. So all of his artifacts should be scaling off of defense, all right? So you guys can see here, this one here, for example, is a bad one, but I have defense +2, so it makes up for it. This attack is useless though, so it doesn't do anything for him, but this defense +2 does. So again, I have proof of that in many of my videos. You guys can go take a look at that anytime you want. So understanding those nuances is important. Now the last thing, and this is very, very, very important, okay? And again, I have a video about this. I will show you guys the video real quick as well, or you can find it anywhere. Let's see, CP. The word CP, this right here. Must watch, see why CP matters so much, insane stat drop if this happens. So essentially the way this game works, guys, is when you're going into a battle of any sort, it doesn't matter what the battle is, it could be a hunter battle, a Jinnu battle, if you are even one CP, combat power, that's what CP stands for, below the recommended stage, you lose all your stats. Down, so for crit and for precision, down to the base rate. So you only have 5% crit rate outside of the passives and skills that you can add on, but your stats go down to 5% and your precision goes down to 75%. There's no avoiding it. So you guys can see here, even though I'm in the white at 333k, if the recommended total power is above my actual team power, then I'm screwed. No matter how much crit gear I have on, it's not going to matter. The only thing that will actually affect my crit now, it's going to go down to 5% and precision down to 75%. The only thing that affects it now is going to be my skills and passives that come from weapons and from actual skills themselves. So that is a big part of the game that not many people know of. I made a huge video about it. There's proof in that video if you want to go watch it, but that's how that works, and you guys need to be very aware of it, that if you notice that for some odd reason you're not critting or hitting as hard as you normally are, that's probably because you're lower than the recommended power that is required for the stage. And the way you increase that is giving yourself artifacts, get new weapons, dupes, etc., and also something called the armory stage, which will open up eventually, and the armory stage will unlock these little weapons. These are automatically put in there based on your top quality weapons, and then you'll level these up over time. This is a whales game for this part, okay? Now, it doesn't mean you can't finish stages underpowered. I've done it on my free-to-play with SRs only, complete the whole game with SRs only. You can do the same thing with your account as well too. You just got to be smart about the way you play and understand that elements are a big part of the game, so make sure you use the proper elemental weapons and just be smart about the way you play and how you use your skills, and you'll make up for that gap very simply. All right, guys, this is Payne. I know this was a lot. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Hope this video helped. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.